Hello everyone, welcome to a new live session, and we are doing watercolor for beginners. So here you see already a few examples of the things that we did in our last sessions. Let me see, we also did some ice cream and popsicles. So we already had a very productive week. And right now I want to do a few more summer theme subjects. So if you have any suggestions or requests, you can always let me know. And until then, I will just pick something. So I'm going to put these away. I'm thinking maybe we can add some metallic to this, maybe this one as well, but I'm going to put the others away. So I will just start with adding some metallic to these two, and then in the meanwhile I can think about something, a new topic for a new easy subject, an easy object to draw and paint. The thought about this live session is that it's very easy for beginners to follow. I want to do these live sessions more often and daily for the summertime, and then in September we need to check the new schedule with the new school year and everything. I need to see how it fits my agenda, but I still would like to do at least 4 or 5 live sessions a week. So there are many opportunities for anyone to join. And it is all going to be for beginning watercolor artists, people who want to learn how to paint with watercolor. So I grabbed my metallic paint. I'm working on a list with materials, and I'm going to put this paint in there as well. This is, I think it's a Dutch local small business owner who creates her own handmade paint. And I really love this one. And I think I bought this set 3 or 4 years ago. And as you see, the dark green is my favorite. And it's almost gone now, but it took me almost 4 years. So I'm going to do an order really soon and maybe pick up some other colors as well. But I'm definitely going to pick that green. I paint a lot of nature and I do love to add metallic details. For that, I always use a tiny round brush. This is a size 1. I do have smaller brushes, but I think a size 1 does the job right. And basically I'm just tracing the lines that I painted yesterday. And it gives a nice shimmer to this. Now I'm going to put this aside, and I'm going to grab my other metallic paint palette. I also have this about 4 years, and I do need to refill the gold soon. I really use that very often. But as you can see, you also go a long time with a set like this. So it is an investment, but it's absolutely worth it. Now I am thinking I think I'm going to add the gold at the bottom. And I still don't know how to call this shape in English. My apologies. So if you're watching, I would love it if you would say hi. Maybe even tell me where you are currently watching from. And of course, I do love to know if you're into painting, and maybe specifically watercolor paint. Is it something you are interested in learning, or are you already doing it and want to grow your skill? Because if so, you are in the right place. I am doing daily watercolor sessions for beginners, very easy to follow along. So it will be awesome if you would jump on board, grab your art supplies, and if you don't know what you need, you can go to this site. This is my hub with everything watercolor related, and I create an exclusive watercolor mailing list. And when you sign up, you receive some resources already. No spam, only valuable stuff for when you are interested in learning how to paint with watercolor. And if you are just diving in right now, of course, I am finishing up an illustration right now, and I must say I really love this gold effect. I don't know if you are able to see it. It's really shining and shimmering very nice. Let me see how I can hold it in a way you can see it. But I am going to start with a new illustration soon. I want to add some details to the shell. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm distracted a bit. I feel like someone sent me a rose. I don't know who, but thank you so much. If you did, please give a shout out. I would like to thank you. Anyway, so the pineapple is ready. I'm going to finish off this shell, and then we are going to start with a new illustration. So if you have a request for a topic, then let me know. You can share in the comments, and otherwise I'm going to pick a topic. For now, I like to add some shimmer to the shell. I'm going to pick a bigger round brush, my size 6. Wetting my brush. I really need to find my water bottle again. I have this spray bottle, and I always like to spray water on top of my paint and then let it set for a while, and that way you can activate the paint. And I really love working like that, but I haven't painted with watercolor for a while. For me, that's like 4 months, and now I somehow lost some of my supplies. Hello Joris, how are you today? So I am talking, I'm trying to follow who is watching, and I am painting at the same time. And I know people think that women can multitask, but I'm not very good at it. I also had a very busy day at the office, at the day job again. So this is my time to unwind, and I'm really happy that you are joining me in this painting session. So I'm very gently just adding this on top, and I want to make it a light wash so you can still see the paint color underneath. But I just like it to have a shimmer. I mean, real shells do have shimmers as well. And I think this light blue metallic paint really fits this one very good. Great to hear, Joris. Very nice that you are watching. Are you also into painting with watercolors? So I am doing these lives in English because I really hope to attract an international audience. So I hope my Dutch watchers don't mind. So we're already halfway the shell, and I am, as you can see, not painting in the entire area. I'm just tracing the edge a bit. So if you're interested in joining me, I suggest that you grab your art supplies. Maybe just start with a piece of watercolor paper and get yourself an HB pencil and of course your watercolor. And then after we're done with this shell, I'm going to pick a new subject. And if you're ready, you can try to follow along. I'm going to try to pick a very easy subject. And maybe you have not been really seeing what I've been doing because it's a very light paint. And I hope that I can show it to you like this. I just added the shimmer. Like that. I really like this. So I'm going to let this dry. So you're not into painting? Well, then still it's very nice that you are watching. Alright, so I'm grabbing a new piece of paper and then I think I would like to draw cherries. So if anyone is interested in joining me, you can do that right now. Grab your paper, grab your pencil. So to paint cherries, I am going to draw 2 circles. And they don't need to be perfect circles because cherries aren't perfect circles either. Like this. And then I want the center to be about here and here. And then we are going to draw like the stem of the cherry like this. And for that we want 2 lines on each side like this. Thank you very much. So you don't like to draw or paint yourself, but you like watching it. So I'm going to draw a bit of like a stump on the top, and then this is a nice place for a leaf. Very simple cherries. And I think I am going to already draw in a bit of where I want a highlight to be, so I know that I'm not going to put too much paint on there. I'm going to do the same with this one. If you feel like you need to erase something, you can use a soft eraser. I want this cherry to be a bit bigger. So I'm just going to do it a bit like this. So I need to tell you, I don't have a plan when I start this live call. This is how I would work in a sketchbook. Just try out and have fun, and I can make mistakes too. So when you start a sketchbook practice or a painting practice, you must learn to deal with making mistakes, and that's totally fine. Alright, they're very simple, and that's the point. I am going to start with the painting right now. But before I can do that, I'm going to grab my kneading eraser, and that means that right now I'm going to lift off all the excess pencil paint. So I'm not going to erase everything entirely. It's just that I don't like to see the gray pencil lines in the end result. So therefore I'm just lifting off everything like this by slowly pressing it down, and that way you can still subtly see the lines so you know where your paint needs to go. And sometimes I can get very enthusiastic and then I erase too much, especially with complex illustrations. Then it can get tricky, then I forget where I need to paint, so I need to be creative. But for now, this will work out good. I need to put away my metallic paint, and I'm grabbing my normal paint palette. So we are going to start with some red. And I still have my size 6 round brush. I like to use that for this size paintings. And I'm just going to draw, like using it as a coloring sheet. Stay within those lines. And then we are going to use the wet on wet technique. And of course, the paper is dry right now. I could also wet the paper first and then put paint on top. But I like to start the first layer. So to be totally honest, this is wet on dry technique. But I like to drop in more pigment and other colors while the paint is still wet. That's the way I like to blend my colors. So I am avoiding the place where I figured I wanted the highlights to be. And now the paint is still wet. I'm going to put more red on my brush, more pigment. I'm going to retrace those lines and very playfully drop in some color. Like this. And I want to have a bit more color in here. But very light, like this. Now with like a dry brush, I can lift off some water. And now what I want to do while the paint is still wet, I'm going to pick another color, a dark pink or dark purple, I believe this is. And again, I'm going to retrace, drop it in. This is going to give some extra shade, some extra dimension. This is a very nice and playful way of using watercolors. And now in the place where there's a highlight with my brush and some clean water on my brush, I'm just going to drop it in there very gently. And then I'm going to let the paint flow there. Oh, let me see what you're saying. You draw, color, white pencils and acrylic. Oh, that's very nice. An airbrush. I have not much experience with airbrush, but I really love how that looks. But that's very nice. That's very nice. So let me see. I have wetted this cherry already a lot. Maybe I do want to have a little touch of orange about here, but now I'm going to stop touching it for now, let it dry, and I'm going to paint the other cherry. So I'm going to start with the red again, and I'm also going to start and try to stay within those lines. And there are a few places where I wanted the highlight to be. I'm going to avoid those. It is like a semi-light wash. I'm making sure that I can add more pigment to it, so it's not too dark, but it's not too light either. You really want to find that perfect, well, perfect doesn't need to be perfect. But it's just something you can play around with. Like you can see right now, I have more pigment on my brush, so it is darker. Trying to trace how I envisioned the shape of the cherry to be. And put more pigment of the red in here as well. And now I am going to grab that pink as well. Dropping it in. Right here and here. I'm putting some water here. So it is going to blend a little but lighter. And there's one place that I want to make darker. And let me see what color I'm going to use for that. Maybe purple. Okay, so I'm going to experiment a bit with this. I hope it's going to turn out right. It needs to be even darker. Like here is a lot of shade because of the cherry is a bit in front of the other one. Yeah, I like that. And I'm going to use that purple for the edge here as well. And now I'm going to do the same here at this side. Using the purple for the darker places and for the shade right now. So as you can see, well, in my mind cherries are red, but now I think about it, the cherries that I buy from the store are also purple. I do love to play around with colors like this. Alright, so let's let that dry. And now we are going to paint the stems, and I think we're just going to start with green. And I'm just going to see how that is going to look. And therefore I don't want to touch the other paint because it's still wet and then it's going to blend in. I don't want that to happen. I think I'm going to add some brown in here as well. I'm just trying out things right now. Hi Sarah, thank you for watching. Yeah, I just started with showing how you can draw this. Maybe let me quickly show you again. I can imagine that if you're starting to watch right now, that it might be a challenge. Great. Do you mind if I do this in English? I am trying to reach an international audience as well. So I like to do my live streams in English. So if that's okay. And let me quickly show you how to draw the cherry. So you can grab your watercolor paper, and I always use an HB pencil. I like to use these types. And you start by drawing 2 circles. Can you say hi to me, please? Hello? You want me to say hello? You want me to prove that I'm Dutch? Ik ben Nederlands. Alleen ik doe de stream graag in het Engels. Yes. Okay, great. Yeah, I don't mind doing Dutch, but as I said, I would love it if I can reach an international audience. I do have a YouTube channel where I give tutorials, and that's in English as well. So I'm going to start with drawing 2 circles, and they don't need to be perfect round because cherries aren't either. And then I'm going to draw this one a little bit behind the other one so they're overlapping. Doesn't need to be perfect. So once you have this, you can draw like a little bow right here and one right here. So that's where the middle of the cherries are, where the stem is coming from. And then you draw a line like this and a line like this, and you want it to be a double line, so you can do it like this. Still makes sense? Once you have this, you can draw a little bump on top, a little bit of a wiggle, and then once you have this, you can draw the leaf. That's it. So, and once you have your drawing, what you can do is use a soft eraser to lift off the pencil line like this. I'm not going to do this for the entire cherry so that you can still have it as an example. But I do it before I start painting so that in the end result you won't see the pencil lines. So I'm going to put this here so you can use it as an example. Of course, totally fine, totally fine. Does this work for you? Do you understand how to draw this now? Oh, okay. Is there any way I can make it easier for you? Because I know that people struggle with the drawing part. And okay, great. That's totally great. And if there's anything I can help you with, let me know. I know it takes practice. So again, you start with those circles first. Don't need to be perfect. Then these lines here. You just can play around with it a bit. Just try to copy what I've drawn here. And let me know when it worked for you. Let me know when you succeeded. It doesn't need to be perfect. So in the meanwhile, I am going to paint the leaf. Yeah, and I'm going to use sap green for that. That's my favorite color, green, and I really need to refill this one because I've been using it a lot. So staying within those pencil lines, I'm just painting it in. Great, Sarah. Just keep on trying. That's the key to learning how to draw and paint. if you want to, later on you can send me some pictures of your creations and I can see if I can help you to make it easier for you, give you some feedback. So I painted the first layer of this sap green. I want to put more pigment on my brush to make it darker, but I also want to use a little darker green. I think this is also a bit aqua green, so it has a blue tone as well. I'm going to drop it in here as well. Great, Sarah, that's awesome. Do you also have your watercolor supplies ready to follow along with the painting? I'm just doing stuff. Multitasking is not my thing. I need to work on that. Great. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do that one as well, so you can follow along again. So here's the example. I think there's one thing I want to add to this one, and it's also a little bit of that darker green to, well, I'm going to use my other brush for that, to add that here. So in the meanwhile, you can maybe make your pencil lines a bit lighter. I don't know if you have a kneading eraser. Watermetstift. Oh, that's cool. I don't know how I can advise you to use that. That works different than the technique that I'm teaching. So are you interested in working with actual watercolor, or do you prefer to work with the markers in the water? Yeah, so you are not interested in doing the actual watercolor paint. That's fine. It's different techniques, but still the drawing, of course, you would like to learn how to draw everything, I guess, so you can then use your technique. All right, so I don't know how to walk you through the marker process. I'm just going to do mine with watercolors again. So yes, of course, if you like doing it, then just do that. Yeah, of course. So basically how I started is using the red, and then I was just tracing the lines. I tried to stay within those lines. And for anyone watching who is interested in the watercolor process, you want to stay within those lines, because then you can continue painting even while the paint is still wet. Now I am keeping some areas lighter. I want to have some highlights at some points. So I'm using a very light wash at that point. And now I am using, while the paint is still wet, I'm getting a darker pink purple color, and I'm dropping in that paint. And this is the technique that I love so much about watercolor, just dropping in those colors, and then you can see the paint, you can see it flow on the paper. And what I also like is to add a bit of orange right here. Now you see I had a bit of a highlight right there, which I don't have right now, so I'm going to use my brush and try to lift off a bit of this paint here. Yeah, so what you're doing is drawing it in with your marker and then using water to, how do you say it? Spread it out, right? I'm really interested in how your end result is going to look like. So I like to get some dark around this area as well. And I'm going to grab some purple for the actual shade and the darker areas. All right, now I'm going to start with the other cherry. Oh, of course. But I do like your idea. It's, you know, you cannot always bring watercolor with you. And then with the water and the brush, it's something I would like to try out. But if you are interested in learning actual watercolor, you are in the right place. I would love to teach you. So I'm going to start with the other cherry. So I have a very light wash again with the red. So going to trace. So that's the thing, once you have your drawing, you can use it like a coloring page and just paint it in. Stay within those lines, because if I would have these lines touch each other, then this paint would flow into this. I am going to try it definitely. What type of markers do you use? Are those alcohol markers? I'm grabbing my darker pink. Yeah, this is the pink. Oh, great. I do have alcohol markers, so I'm going to try that out someday this week. I love trying out new things. I want to add a bit more red. I feel like these cherries can use more red. I'm using a lot of water right now. I'm soaking my paper, so I need to pay attention that I'm not overworking it. However, I do love to see those paint blends. This really looks very nice once it's dried up. So I'm grabbing some purple. There's a really nice, delicious shade right here. So maybe after this one, I need to ask if anyone has a favorite from the two sets of cherries that I just painted. It wasn't deliberate that I was going to recreate this, but I think it's also a lot of fun to see how both are turning up. And now with the green again, draw or paint in the leaf. So this actually is a very nice exercise for anybody. If you want to learn how to draw or paint, you can recreate the same thing several times just to try out different things. If you feel like you're not satisfied the first time, So I am going to let these cherries dry. And once they're dried, I would like to add some details on those leaves. I like to always paint some stripes on there, but for that the paint needs to dry overnight. So I'm going to put these, well, at least one aside, so you still have an example. You can see how wet this is right now. I think this is going to dry up really beautiful. Let me see. Yeah, it's really wet. All right, I'm going to put that aside. Okay, bye Sarah. Thank you so much for joining. And if you're interested, please send me a photo of your creation. I would love to see it. So I am going to do one more drawing, and I must admit that I need to pick a topic yet. So bye Sarah. If anyone has a request, then this is your time, and otherwise I am going to pick a topic. And I'm currently in summer vibes. That is going to change somewhere this week because I have a project coming up. But for now, I thought with the easy painting topics, summer vibes are very nice. We do have some nice things that we can paint. So let me see. So yesterday we did a pineapple and today we did the cherries. I'm thinking, are we just going for lemons maybe? Is anyone interested in drawing and painting lemons? That's very easy. Or something with a grapefruit. Okay, so let's start with lemons. So for this, there are several things we can do. Of course, when you draw a lemon, there are several ways you can go about it. You can start with a circle and then add those ends on top. That's a very easy way. And of course, we can also cut the lemon in half or like have a lemon slice like this. So then we draw a circle with another circle in it. It doesn't need to be perfect, and if you make mistakes, you can use a soft eraser. Well, and then I put like a little circle in the middle, and we are going to make those lemon parts like this. Of course, this is the same way as you would do an orange or a grapefruit or something. And we can also do like a slice apart, like this. And then you have the half circle here and have your slices like that. Now this is a very big lemon compared to the parts we're making. But see this as a sketchbook session. Only I'm not using my sketchbook because then I wouldn't be able to paint so much because I need to wait until the paint is dry. And now I do like to draw half a lemon. So again, we're painting this circle, but I'm making it slightly, how do you say it? It's not a perfect circle. And then I'm going to add this shape right here, maybe flattening it a bit like this so you have that lemon end right there. And then again we can put the little circle here and put in the slices. So these are very easy ways to draw lemon. And then to fill up the sheet, we can paint a few leaves. Do another slice around here, just filling the page. This is a drawing exercise. It doesn't need to be perfect. And we're going to turn this drawing exercise in a painting exercise. All right, so we do have filled our piece of paper now. So we have some nice things to paint. So I only do the outlines. That's the thing, the way I draw for my illustrations is that I don't do the details with pencil. I do that later on with paint or something else. But for when it comes to watercolor, I always paint the outlines. Alright, so I'm grabbing my kneading eraser again, and I'm going to lift off the excess pencil lines. Because I don't like to have those gray lines in the end result of my illustrations. Of course, that's a personal preference. I just really like it if I don't see it. But of course, I did make this drawing because I want to see where I need to put the paint. And sometimes I must admit that I am too enthusiastic with erasing, especially with complex illustrations. It gets really difficult to see where the paint needs to go. So I need to get creative. But I think this will do. I still can see where I want to paint. I think I can see it better as you guys. You see, there still are some subtle lines. Alright, so I'm going to grab my round brush again. This is a size 6. And I'm going to start with yellow, a nice and bright yellow. And we're going to start with the big one up here. And we're just going to paint this in within the lines with a nice semi-light wash. Already put a bit more pigment on here as well. Et voila, we have a lemon. Okay, so we can stop here, but we can also still add some more pigment. So it's the same color, but I have more pigment on my brush. And what I like to do is to gently do some dots already right here, because lemons have got texture. And I also do this later on when I'm doing the details, once the first layer has dried, but I also like to do this now. And as you can see, because the layer beneath it is still a bit wet, it is going to blend in, and that's totally fine, but it's already giving a nice texture. And now I do like to add a bit more color in there, also for shading. So I'm going to pick another color, and I'm going to trace a few lines like this. And because the paint is still wet, that's going to blend in nicely. It's going to move in that direction. And I'm going to do a few of those drops like this as well, to stay true to that texture we're going with. All right, And maybe I like to add, so I'm just playing around. If you think that I have a plan, I don't. I'm just trying stuff out. See this as my sketchbook. I'm just experimenting. I feel like dropping in some more color in there. Oh, wait, I got green on my brush, but my mind just told me I want to add in some pink. That might sound crazy, but I do love pink. And that's just personal preference. You don't need to do this. This is just my crazy mind. Let me see. Where am I going to do this? I think on the shade side. The reason why I switched in my head is because the leaves are also going to be green. And I just wanted to add another color in there just for the fun of it, basically. All right. So maybe it's a little bit too brown for a lemon. I'm going to see how it dries up. I'm just playing around here. Maybe we need to add more of the other yellow again as well. Did I already use this yellow? I don't know. Dropping a bit of the very bright yellow in here as well. All right, so this paint can dry. This is very wet right now. That's just me. That's my thing. I love to blend the color on the paper, and then I need to like control myself so I won't overwork the paper. So we're going to move on to those slices. So I'm just going to paint this right here. And I'm just going to do the same with this one. While it is still wet, I'm going to grab the other yellow and drop it in there a bit. And now I'm going to continue to this one. Maybe because these are smaller areas, if you want to, you can use a smaller brush. I'm really using the tip of my brush here. Grabbing a bit more of the other yellow as well. Dropping it in. Well, I am sad that I don't see as much of the pink anymore. It just turned orange. Let's try it out a bit here. Alright, and now we are going to grab that very bright yellow again, but I'm going to make a very light wash. And then I'm going to paint in, I'm going to grab my smaller brush for this. Paint in the parts. I see I accidentally blended in with some green, but I don't mind. So you can just paint this entire part, but I do like to stay within those lines that I've drawn so you can see the lines where the parts need to be. and then maybe if we go back to drop in some color, then it stays in its own place. Continue to this part. So this is a very light wash. And now you see that I touched the paint here, and now the color is flowing in. For now I'm going to keep it like this because I don't think it's really ruining it right now. And then those mistakes really give the watercolor its character. So I do like to play around like this, and not every part needs to have the same shape. It's really nice if there's some variation in there. Makes it more playful. I'm going to grab more pigment on my brush. I'm going to go back to the first slices and then trace the lines a bit. Now this paint has almost dried already. It's going really fast. So I could do some more details, and it's not going to blend out that fast. As you can see, I'm just doing quick lines with my brush. It's basically the texture, you know, a lemon has, those lines inside. And I'm not thinking too much about it. Doesn't need to be perfect. Now I want to do a few places with the other yellow, just a few, just for some variety. And now what we haven't done yet with this one, just add in some drops. Now the paint has already almost dried, but I do love to do this for the texture. And I'm going to grab a bit of that really bright yellow and drop that in as well. I do love to play around with color and texture. All right, so I've got a hair trapped in there. That's nice. It's ruining my effect here. Okay, this is so frustrating. It's ruining everything. I don't have it yet. Yeah, I got it. Yay! So there's a hair ruining my painting here. All right. So we are going to let those lemon pieces dry. And I want to dry it overnight. So I don't want to add anything right now because then I'm overworking the paper. But I'm going to paint in those leaves. Wait, I'm going to grab my other brush for this again. So with my size 6 round brush, I'm just filling in these leaves. Sap green, just easy peasy. Now I like to drop in some light turquoise because I think that fits really nice with the color of, well, with the yellow color of the lemons. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of the darker green. I'm just going to put that on the edges. Alright, so I painted a few bubbles just to fill the paper, and I'm going to just use pink here. So I do have some pink on this page. Yay! I always love to fill my paper, and I sometimes just add dots in there or other shapes. Alright, so I'm going to have this dry overnight as well. So just like the cherries, tomorrow we will be adding the details on the leaves, and there are some other details I want to add here as well. So to sum up what we did today, we did 2 pairs of cherries. And, well, you can't see it like this. We finished the pineapple and the shell. We added the metallic. I don't know if you can see the shimmer. It's really nice. And this one as well. See how I can... Okay, maybe I'm going to film it at daylight tomorrow, but I really see a very beautiful gold shimmer here as well. So this is what we did today, and if you're interested in learning to paint with watercolor, I'm going to be here daily for live streams, and you can go to my site with my watercolor hub dedicated to painting with watercolor. You can sign up to my newsletter, grab your free resources. There will be more. and I will be here. So if you have any requests for subjects to paint, let me know. So I'm currently in the very easy peasy summer vibes. I am going to do a few evenings this week with a bit of a different topic. I cannot tell you about it yet. So if you're interested, just follow me, but it's going to be really fun. Okay, there's going to be dragon involved. So it's different than what I'm doing now. Joris, you're still here. Oh my God, thank you so much for watching. And thank you so much for your kind words. I'm really happy that you enjoyed. So I'm going to end this stream right now, but I will be back tomorrow. And I think it's going to be around 8:30 Amsterdam time. So same time as today. Thank you so much for watching and hope to see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.